This is the Spokane Soccer Show, proudly presented by Flat Stick Pub, episode number 50. And I am your host, Benji Wade. Joining me to serve up only the best vibes about all things soccer in the fine city of Spokane, it's my friend and co-executive director of Feast World Kitchen, Mr. Ross Carper. Welcome to the show, Ross.
Hey, I'm glad to be here on a landmark episode.
50.
That's big.
We got here.
This is a real thing now.
I'm so glad you're here for episode 50.
Me too.
Because we've long threatened to have you come on the podcast, and you're always going, I don't know anything about soccer. Yep. And I'm like, stop it.
I coach it, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, you've coached my kid playing soccer, but then you'll claim to me in some text or phone call or conversation in person that you don't know anything about it and you wouldn't have anything to say. I'm like, that's not true.
I have an imposter syndrome situation with soccer, but I need to let it go. I need to embrace it. And that's why I'm here today.
What, you feel like a poser?
Well, just
what do you mean? Why?
I retired from my playing career after third grade.
Yes. Which you brought up to Ivy's team all the time.
Yeah. So I was slightly older than they were at the time when I retired. Yeah, I was the second best player in my class, and second place is first loser, and I needed to be the best, and so I retired. So
that's kind of how every adult feels if they ever played any kind of sport, like competitively, or any good at it. And then you hit a certain age where you have diminished skills and you're like, no, I just can't do it. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Although I mostly feel the way of don't want to get a career ender injury, which that career would be walking on high drive for me, getting my daily walk. I don't want to go play basketball or soccer or whatever and then not be able to walk for 9 months.
Debilitated.
And the hoop festing, do you see what happened with that?
No, what happened?
After one day, they reported, and they said that this was a year with low numbers of like severe injuries. There were like 8 ruptured Achilles, like 12 torn ACLs after one day. I don't even know where it ended up at the end of the tournament. And I'm like, that's what happens, folks.
We're on our restaurant, Feast World Kitchen's over on the west end of downtown, and we could hear them popping. We could just we step outside and there's just ligaments popping.
Is that a gunshot? Yeah. Is that a car backfiring? Yeah,
it's kind of one of those like,
it's Hoop Fest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's great.
Okay. I want to start by a couple shout outs. One has to be we're at my new studio that's at downtown, and it's got some furniture, including this wonderful table, the chairs that Ross and I are sitting on, the chair that I sit in for my day job, which is in the room over from this one, all brought to us by Freeform Spaces. Okay. My friend Fernando, thank you, Freeform. Couldn't have had all this awesome stuff without you. Go to their website, freeformspaces.com. Get a hold of my friend Fernando. If you have a commercial space or something that you're trying to do that needs all the furnishings that make an office and a workspace feel like the most livable they can. I know a lot about this because I've got a co-working space. So these things matter. Go to Freeform. Check them out. freeformspaces.com. I also have to shout out my new podcast, All Those Moments, that I'm co-hosting with my friend Luke Baumgarten. If you haven't seen it, it's really, really fun. If you haven't watched it, listen to it, anything. It's about movies. It's in partnership with the Magic Lantern in downtown Spokane. And Ross, you had a connection to the first episode. You want to tell our listeners why that is?
I think it was the second episode.
Oh, you're right.
I'm a fanboy. I've listened to all of the episodes.
We've done 2 episodes.
Well,
Whoops.
I've listened to both of the episodes. We met up at the Magic Lantern and watched a movie called The EFIS, or EFIS.
Just EFIS.
Not the.
Yep.
And it's about old middle-aged guys that play baseball on this rec team. And it's kind of this beautiful movie about the passage of time and the ending of things. And anyway, we had a great discussion after the film with you and Luke. And the reason that that's, poignant for me is that I didn't finish my baseball playing career after third grade. I kept going, and I'm still a baseball player with the South Hill Turkeys, which is our all-time record is 0-14. We're an expansion team.
I wish you had told me this. I wouldn't have invited you to that screening.
I know. This
is embarrassing.
We're kind of a lovable
0-14?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That is really terrible.
We're an expansion team.
So one of your teammates said, because the movie Ephus, which is fantastic, by the way, please watch it. It is not just some goofy little independent movie that was made on a shoestring budget and no one has seen it. No, this thing was screened at Cannes. It is on like top 10 lists of a ton of critics, including the New York Times, including The Ringer. It has kind of blown up on the independent movie circuit. So please watch it. But yeah, it's there was somebody from your team at the screening that said the movie, spoiler, it's not that big of a deal, but it ends with a walk-off base on balls.
Yeah.
And one of your teammates said that would have been the most exciting thing that would have happened to the South Hill Turkeys.
Well, sadly, a couple weeks ago, we were up 6-0 and we were like, it's going to happen.
No way.
And we lost 7-6. And guess what the ending of that game was?
Don't say it was a base on balls.
It was a walk-off base on balls. So
Is there video of this?
No. Not only is there not video,
wait,
there was like 3 people that were watching it with their eyes.
No, dude, I'm so disappointed in you right now. This happened after Ephus, the screening?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody there should have had the wherewithal to be like, we're replicating in the most horrible circumstances the ending of Ephus. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Well, okay. That's my shout out for the podcast. If you like what I do with the Spokane Soccer Show and you like movies, I think you'll like this podcast. I think we're going at it with a lot of intention and thought and time, and energy and all the things. And in fact, tonight, Luke and I are going to watch Ari Aster's latest movie, which is called Eddington. And I've done a little Ari Aster deep dive. Those are some gnarly movies, bro. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you like movies, please go check us out on Instagram. That's probably the best place to just, get started. All those moments, all one word on Instagram. But of course, we're on YouTube. It's going to be a very video forward podcast because we include clips from movies and so forth. So yeah, that's my plug for the new podcast of which you were a part. And I'm so honored that you were a part of it in the South Hill Turkeys, even though I'm disappointed with how terrible the South Hill Turkeys are. Jeez.
It's going to make our success even better when it comes.
Whatever. You gave me a hat, a South Hill Turkeys hat. It's sick. I love it. And I'm going to wear it even more proudly because I think it's got to wear it like a rally hat to get you guys your first W. Okay, let's do a quick kind of a too long didn't read update about Velocity FC. Honestly, the worst week of me following USL Spokane soccer teams since this whole thing started last week, between the news of all the departures, of course, player of the year, Emina Ekić from Zephyr FC, and what happened with Velocity. I don't even know if you're aware of what happened.
Oh, man.
Are you aware of what happened?
Tough times.
Okay, so we're playing tomorrow in the Jägermeister Cup, a competition in which we have been eliminated because we conceded a goal in the first 5 minutes against Monterey. And even though we dominated the rest of that game, we lost. We conceded a goal early against Las Vegas Lights and then lost that game. So we're already eliminated from that competition, but we can't afford to kind of take this night off because of the recent dip in form in USL League One. So here's what happened for people who haven't paid attention very much. And they're going to get an update from the Spokane Soccer Show because these games happened, 10 days ago. But we traveled to Westchester SC after a 2-week break. Okay. It was a game where Anwar Pelayo scored 2 times from the penalty spot. I think that, on the balance of play, it was a pretty close game that I think either team should have expected to get a point out of. Well, we won 3-2. All right. And it was like, we escaped from New York with all 3 points. It was like, that's awesome. But something happened. And I think it was minute 59. They had like a 5-minute stoppage of play, and the fourth official and the ref and both coaches were talking to each other and stuff. And it's like, what's going on here? Well, it turns out that we had a player who was not registered to play that night, Javier Martin Hill, and he was subbed on, and he actually played for like 15 minutes. And that's a key feature of this story, is that he played in the game, and you literally cannot play a game with a player that's not registered to play that night. This is just a rule. And it happened in the MLS. Shout out Alex from the 509 Syndicate. He found an example of this that happened in the MLS. As a result, the league vacated the win for Velocity FC and gave a 3-0 forfeit win to Westchester. Okay. 3-0. So it'll be basically no stats applied to it. So Anwar Pelayo, who was a Golden Boot leader after that game, or tied, I think, with Obregon Jr. from Westchester SC. His 2 goals are erased, the assists, all the stats are erased, and the wins erased, and we get a 3-0 loss.
Due to a clerical error.
Super unfortunate, it's a human error, it's a mistake, but it's also like an extremely costly one. We'll see. We all have to move on. I did some research and could only find examples of forfeited games in like the top 2 divisions of England, the league that we pay attention to a lot, of course, right? And could only find forfeits due to suspension or injury. I could not find an example where it was like a clerical error or whatever. So it's really unusual, also super unfortunate. And let's all show up tomorrow and hope that we can recover some form against Sacramento Republic. Not going to be an easy game. They're a USL Championship side. Last time a USL Championship side came here, Oakland Roots, we kicked their ass. So hopefully we can show up and support these boys and get back on the winning end of things, Ross.
Yeah.
Because the part I left out is that we then went to Chattanooga on last Saturday. So the Westchester game was midweek, and then we went to Chattanooga and we got our asses kicked 3-0, despite, I think, having an advantage in expected goals. And Anwar Pelaez missed a penalty in that game. So just an insane reversal of fortune. Coming out of the Westchester game, 2 penalty goals for Anwar. Anyway, let's move on.
Hey, that sounds like, we were talking about baseball. That sounds like a baseball thing. It does. The lineup card was filled out wrong.
Let's shift gears and talk about Zephyr FC. Okay. We have about a month before the first kick of a ball in the second season of the USL Super League. And to catch anybody up who, again, if you're getting your updates from this podcast, and I don't think there's probably more than 0 people for which that is true. You're not following social media and seeing like what's happening with the player departures and so forth. Well, the entire league, let's just start with the entire league. They're experiencing somewhere around, I think, the range of like 50% turnover. Every team, including Carolina, who won the Players' Shield, and Tampa Bay, who won the playoff championship. Each team, I think, has lost between 8 and 10 players, respectively. It's been a lot of turnover. And I think it was kind of inevitable that was going to happen. I brought it up on my last podcast, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about that. But to talk about the news that did happen after I released the last podcast, which a lot of players had already left the club. Well, the player of the year, Emina Ekić, departed the club. Did you catch this news, Ross?
Yes. Okay. I will not pretend like I'm following it the closest. And I actually do think Spokane Soccer Show is a good way for someone like me, who I'm very busy, like there's all kinds of stuff going on. Yeah. I can kind of keep a pulse on what's going on.
Oh, thanks for saying this, Ross Carper.
And it's not like you're getting the score of every game from this podcast, but it's like, it's a way to stay engaged. Yeah, I have been out to see Zephyr FC and, Ekić.
Yeah.
She's a player. And it's kind of like over the years with the Spokane Indians, like these people are on a journey with their career. Yeah. And it's hard when a community kind of latches on and is like, wow, I really love this player.
And obviously that's way more turbulent. I've made jokes about like supporting Indians players before, like there's no point. Yeah. Like if they're good, they're gone.
Right.
There will be some of that. And for both of these clubs though, USL League One is the 3rd tier of soccer in the United States. Okay. The USL Super League, they fought to get first division status. They have it. I think a lot of people argue about whether or not they should have even pursued that sanctioning to get first division, because are they as good a league as in terms of the competition with the NWSL? I would argue it's closer than people think it is, but there's definitely a counter argument of they should have just gone for second division status. Nonetheless, there is so much fluidity to what's happening with women's soccer in the United States right now that there will be a lot of turnover. So we can expect this probably to happen. And I've heard this from multiple clubs, including USL Spokane. We can probably expect this to happen for a few years of there will be turnover, but we did bring back a lot of players, including Ali Cook and Hope Heisey, who are, and Emma Jaskinik, who and Sarah Clark, who's going to be the captain. There's a lot of pedigree that remains in the team. And I'll just say this, I'm going to do kind of a just quick snapshot of my feelings and my thoughts about Emina's departure. When she came on the podcast, she mentioned 2 things that I thought stuck out and made me go, I was a little worried. One is she said something about playing in Europe. And I was like, yeah, you mean in like 10 years? And I'm like sweating. And she's like, didn't really react. And I'm like, I think you really want to play in Europe. Okay. And I have heard she really wanted to play in Europe, and she was trying to play in Europe. She also is from Kentucky when we signed her. And I did a preview of all these players last summer with my friend Abby Carcio. I was like, why did Lexington not go after Emina Ekić? she's from Kentucky. And she also mentioned on the podcast, I said, what is some routine that you might have when you're playing soccer for every game, whatever? Do you have any superstitions? And she said, an hour before every game, I pray and I call my family. And I'm like, okay, so, Louisville is 75 miles from Lexington, her whole family, which is really important to her. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Get to go drive and see her. The thing is, and I'm going to use this to segue to talking about you and I and our favorite English Premier League teams. Okay. Emina Ekić did not intend to play for Spokane again. Okay. She wanted to play for either near home, apparently, or she wanted to go to Europe. And it's very easy, I think, I had this moment of feeling like, I'm really disappointed with the situation. It was like the worst week when it comes to like people going, what happened?
Yeah.
Those dumbasses, why would they do this? And I'm like, they didn't choose. They didn't set out to be like, let's get rid of the best player in the league.
Yeah.
Emina wanted to leave. Okay. And they're not in a position to be like, let's force her to sit out a year because she's under contract. Like what? That would have been silly. The club did not set out to sell the best player in the league. Okay. And Emina's not a bad person for wanting to play near her family.
No.
Okay. Life is short. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I think everybody should shift their attention to some of the players that are incoming and prepare for the next season. So here's the players that I didn't mention on the last podcast. So I think I might have mentioned briefly, but Olivia Vanderyacht, aka Olo, a player named Lena Solano was announced. Cam Tucker, I think I did bring up on the last podcast, but Arissa Mart and Madeline Desiano had not been announced yet. So these are all players that either have a lot of pedigree from their time playing collegiate or professional soccer or both. A couple of these players are coming from NWSL experience. So let's get behind them and see what they can do. That's all we can do at this point, and expect a lot more turnover in this league for its first couple of years. So
yeah. It's a part of the game. And, even if players aren't, moving up to the next level because they're at a division, the top division level,
sure.
There's going to be family reasons. There's going to be all kinds of things. And you do have to respect that,
Let's take a quick break. And when we return, we're going to talk all about your endeavors with Feast World Kitchen. The Spokane Soccer Show is supported by Spokane City Credit Union. And in case you missed it, throughout 2025, I will be updating my listeners about SCCU's commitment to the Greater Spokane Parks Challenge. For the month of July, there is a new challenge. It's like a scavenger hunt. Our friends Gene and Jack have been out exploring, and now it's your turn to follow their trail. Go to sccu.net/parks-challenge, where you'll find clues pointing to 5 different Spokane area parks where Gene and Jack have visited. You pick a clue from the list on the website, you find the park, you strike a pose where Gene and Jack did. You only need to match one of the 5 featured spots and submit your picture by July 31st to be entered to win a $100 Visa gift card. And don't forget about the bonus challenge. Upload a photo of the most scenic view that you have spotted at a local park before July 31st for a chance to win a $50 gift card to Twigs. To learn more and to register for the challenge, go to sccu.net/parks-challenge. All right, let's talk about you, Ross. You are, my friend, one of the, I'm going to shed a tear, most thoughtful, soulful, kindest, warmest, silliest, funniest, dumbest.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
All of the above.
People that I've ever met, you make me I feel like the Jack Nicholson character in As Good as It Gets. You make me want to be a better man.
Oh, wow.
Like you make me want to be a better person. Okay. You make me want to be a Christian man because I'm a godless heathen. You are a good dude. You're one of the absolute best people in Spokane, Washington. Okay.
Wow.
And we've known each other for a while. And when you came in here, like, which part of our lives together are we going to talk about? All these different intersections that started years and years and years ago. I'm not going to get into the old days.
But
it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to bring up briefly that you were my kid's soccer coach for a year.
Yeah. I take
on it Eagles
all credit for Ivy's career
development.
Yeah.
Which she no longer plays soccer, folks.
Well, I mean, development as a person. I mean, you've done a pretty good job as a parent, but I coached her for, I don't know, maybe 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And
she absolutely adored you, by the way. Like, I have to get, she absolutely, to this day, adored you.
And you wouldn't know it. Like, she, holds the cards pretty close. Yeah, but she's a great kid. And even then, that was years ago. And it's not like I know her that well, but like back then it was so fun to just, to have her on the team and with my daughter Iris. And yeah, it's just the best. I love coaching with 90 plus.
You're still doing it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love that about you.
My youngest is 7, and her team has been together for like 4 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
And there's something brewing there. There's some overlapping runs going on.
Whoa.
We're dropping into some deeper positions.
Get him to do some underlapping runs next. Let's go.
No, they're so fun and a lot of improvement because they've stayed together. And it's 90
plus is wonderful. Shout out Stefan. Shout out Russ. Shout out Aaron. They're the best.
Yep. Good humans.
Good humans.
No, thanks for saying all the nice things about me. But so
those players brought it up all the time. They're like, we loved Ross. They named their team On It Eagles.
The On It Eagles,
which is so funny.
Yeah, I let them choose the name every season. Yeah, so it changes all the time. It does. They always want to add adjectives and phrases and things. Yeah. It's like, there's a whole sentence that's our name. Scary Tigers or whatever.
It was Orange Crush Butterflies.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Year. The it was something axolotls.
Oh yeah,
which is a lizard.
Yeah,
I don't remember how that happened. Yeah. Awesome. I think it was Awesome Axolotls.
Yep, that's right.
And On It Eagles. Okay, we have to talk about Feast.
Yeah,
this is the main course is going to be talking about Feast. Pun. God, I'm so clever. What the hell is Feast World Kitchen, and how did it get started?
Well, yeah, a lot of the things that you work on and why I think we are kind of kindred spirits is because we want to, in Spokane, Washington, hyper local. We want to bring people together around positive things. So Feast World Kitchen is an example of that, specifically working with immigrants and former refugees who have come to Spokane, often fleeing really difficult circumstances in their original home country, and then often staying in refugee camps or other places in between. And then finally, arriving in Spokane, Washington, which is not the most diverse place in the world.
It is not.
But in 2019, a bunch of us neighbors on the lower South Hill in Spokane here, over on the west side of that part of our city, saw an opportunity with an old, really poor condition restaurant building being up for sale. And we started kicking around the idea of creating a commercial kitchen where people could cook and sell food from their home culture as a way of, showing this amazing one of the amazing gifts that they bring to our city, and making money to kind of advance their lives as they're setting up their lives here. Because we have people, just starting from scratch after being, very accomplished in many cases in their own. We have people who owned restaurants in Syria, and it's like they couldn't stay because of the violence.
I want to take our listeners back a couple chapters though, because you left out a part that I just remembered. You modeled this concept with your breakfast wagon, Compass, and Maisa, right?
Yeah. So Maisa.
Now you're co-executive director.
Yeah,
Maisa.
We're co-directors. And probably I can drop this. She's going to be the sole executive director in the next couple months as I move into a different position. I'm still, full time with Feast, but we're just changing positions because of her leadership capacities and my, gifts in different areas. And it just makes sense. But she's been involved since the beginning, and she is a powerhouse of a community builder and an amazing chef. She's from Jordan, came as an asylum seeker, and just immediately started building community around food in the neighborhood. She lived at 9th and Walnut, and we kind of became friends because she came to my food truck, which I was operating at 10th and Maple, the breakfast wagon. And she's like, okay, how do I start a small food business? And I was like, well, we've actually been kicking around this crazy idea. And then she was in it, from the very beginning. And then Dan Todd from Inland Curry was operating his weekly takeout business, like pop-up takeout business out of the women's club at 9th and Walnut, right across the street from Maisa's apartment. So, and we were like, what if we could he was also doing an international dinner series with refugees and immigrants, monthly ticketed events where they could share their food. And there's like usually live music from that culture.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember or like a moment or like a set of moments where you felt like, okay, this can actually make a really big difference in Spokane? Was it through the food truck, or was it when you actually set up threw a shingle out at Third and what's the address?
Third and Cedar.
Third and Cedar. Like, was there, you remember a moment of just going, I think this is going to be a big deal?
Oh, so many moments. So at the time I was working at First Presbyterian Church in a role related to community building and social justice initiatives and getting people activated in service, on behalf of and alongside the marginalized particularly. And so I loved that job of activating people. And I was training and forming teams of volunteers who would adopt a family who came here as refugees and were brand new. And there's all kinds of orientation stuff that you have to figure out that the official caseworker from the resettlement agency has no time to help with because they're spread thin. So we would often have teams of people visiting in people's tiny apartments, usually like even in the lower South Hill, there's all these 70s apartment complexes that are not in great condition, but some of the landlords partner with those resettlement agencies. So there's this real formation of friendship with folks who had just arrived. And so we'd have these teams of people sitting in people's apartments, going through the mail or the paper that came home from the kids' school, trying to figure out, okay, what's important, what's recycle. About 2 hours in, the Americans are like, oh, time to go. That was great. And we'll see you next week. There's a different social clock around the world.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people linger a little more in community in different parts of the world. And so at that 2 hour mark, a lot of times people would be ready to go. And then that's when the food starts coming out of the kitchen. And there were moments with those teams of volunteers welcoming people to our city where to use a pun, the table got turned, and we're receiving hospitality here, not just extending hospitality. And so mutual hospitality is actually one of our values of our nonprofit. And so there's mutuality.
It's
there.
Symbiotic.
Yeah. It's not, the poor people that we get to help. No, everyone.
It's an exchange.
Everyone is benefiting and learning and growing together. And taking next steps. And of course the food was fantastic. And so those were moments that I point to as like formational and saying, we could start to do this. And then it turns into like, hey, we're having an event for this or that in the city or at the church or whatever. We're having an event instead of like Chipotle or something. Let's call one of these families, let's get a commercial kitchen and they can cook this big catering and they get the money from it.
Yeah.
And then that kept happening and happening and happening. And then Maisa joined and she's, dynamic, and everyone that, helped form it. We convinced the church to buy that restaurant building so that we, as the newly formed 501c3, could rent it back from them to do this programming. And to their credit, like, I don't know if this would happen every time.
Wait, this was First Prize?
Yeah.
Okay.
So their board went for it.
Yeah.
And it's like that, I can't even believe that some days. And they rented to us at way below market rate. In the 6 years since then, we've worked with 160 families or more in our chef program. And we also have built out this drop-in program that's community resource navigation. We have 3 community health workers that are in our dining room, sitting at tables with people who come in to get help with a job application or finding adequate, affordable housing or getting into an English language program. So they're always referring and helping people navigate, and they're phenomenal at it.
Yeah.
And, 2 of the 3 of those women are former refugees themselves who speak key languages for the people we work with and understand the situation from lived experience. And
anybody who's paying attention to what's happening in our national politics of 2025 and this new administration and DOGE, I'm just going to say it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the decline in funding for things like Feast, can you talk about the pain point and the challenges of Feast right now that you're experiencing as a result of the new the economics of giving and of grants and grant funding for things like Feast?
Yeah, I mean, and before I talk about funding, it's like the most important thing that's going on is just how painful and frankly dangerous it is for a lot of people who came here as immigrants of all kinds.
Yeah.
Whether they're undocumented or not, whether they came through a specific government program, whether they do have refugee status
or asylum seeking status.
There's all these things that really feel up in the air in a way that's scary for so many people. And as we know, that's just happening all the time with people who came here under specific programs that are now being rolled back, canceled, not extended. And then you go from being like, oh, I have a work permit. I'm here legally through all these different, I did the things that I was supposed to do, and you can be picked up and taken away. And that is a current thing in our society that is heartbreaking and terrifying for many people. For others, it's emotional because they wanted their families to join them. And that's just not happening anytime soon for many people because of how restrictive the current administration is on letting people into the country. So, it's not my job to talk about policy and immigration policy, but
but your perspectives about the vulnerability of the people that you are helping with Feast and the chefs and the entrepreneurs that are trying to accomplish their goals are being impacted by this environment and the climate of what like the United States is going through.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just, we're always trying to walk alongside people and meet them where they're at and help them take the next step.
Yeah.
Whether that's opening a food business or not. We have a drop-in program that has hundreds of people who we've engaged with that they're not interested in or particularly good at cooking.
Yeah.
But we're a space that people are comfortable meeting to talk about goals, challenges, barriers, and moving forward. And when there's big barriers society-wide, and, aside from policy, there's sentiment and racism and, xenophobia and, all the things directed at people that's being emboldened by leadership. That's an emergency. And
I actually want to address this like right now. In addition to not being a terrible person, okay, like please, people out there, don't be terrible.
Yeah.
All right. Be kind.
Yeah.
Right. All right. But I want people to know directly how they can help, because I think most of the people who are listening to this podcast are awesome and kind.
Yeah.
And me telling the non-kind people to stop being jerks is not going to do any good anyways. So, but if you are someone who does care about the work of Feast World Kitchen, what can people do to help? Because it's not as simple. You and I chatted about this a couple months ago. It's not as simple right now in 2025 as it was a couple years ago of just going down to the restaurant and buying food.
Yeah. And we love our customers. Yeah. It's amazing. But I will say, grant funding is very impacted. That's been a huge thing for us in our programs. We do job skills, career skills, small business incubation. We do all this work and we do get some grant funding for it. But when a lot of the grant funders are responding to emergencies that were created by the federal government, that, maybe they're less likely to give some of that funding to this program that they've supported before because they're over here, putting out this fire of, children not getting legal representation, who are immigrants, so it's like, absolutely, we should be giving money toward that. So if people want to support us, honestly, donating,
go to feastworldkitchen.org. There's a button on the homepage to donate.
Yep.
Also, people out there who have means, get a hold of me if you would like to come up with ideas of how you can make a significant impact, either larger donors or people who want to do something, but they want to do something that's clever or innovative or creative or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'm always down to use my creativity and my voice and whatever I can do with my platform to generate more revenue or I shouldn't say revenue, but more operating capital, right?
Yeah.
For Feast World Kitchen, because what has become clear to me is there's a platform that's being provided to these chef entrepreneurs. You want as much of the money that goes into the till from food sales to go directly to benefit those chefs, right?
Yep.
But to do that, there's a lot of operating expenses.
Yeah. To safely run our program.
Yeah.
We're cooking with gas. There's fire everywhere. It's like the amount of like safety and staffing and training and, food safety and physical safety, and just making sure that we're doing things responsibly and have all the insurance we need and all the different things. And the chefs have the insurance.
Yeah.
It's like, that's probably why there's not that many places in the world like Feast that we're crazy enough to do this complicated thing where we have a different chef family every single day that we're open. And we could cater like 10 events per week. Tomorrow, we're catering a 50th wedding anniversary, a wedding, and a baby shower. That's all of those are happening tomorrow.
That's awesome.
And we can't screw it up.
Yeah.
These are big days. And the chef families are so honored to bring the best for folks that are doing that.
It fills me with joy to announce that Wildland Co-op is a sponsor of the Spokane Soccer Show. What is Wildland Co-op? Wildland is a small farm, it's a brewery, it's a winery, and it's a local goods market. 20 varieties of beer on tap, guaranteed to be something you're going to dig. A range of fantastic wines and tasty non-alcoholic beverages. So pull up an Adirondack chair on their cherry tree patio and take in all those yummy flavors amidst sweeping views of Green Bluff and the foothills of Mount Spokane. There is literally not a better place in the 509 to gawk at the warm, dreamlike skies during golden hour. I've almost run out of room on my phone taking photos of it. That's actually a true story. The Wildland Co-op is family friendly, everybody's welcome, and if you'll recall, last year, their head brewer, Michael, took me up on the idea of making a signature beer for the Spokane Soccer Show. Remember the Double Pivot Pub Ale? For more information, go to their website or follow them on Instagram, Wildland Co-op. That's wildland.coop.
If you haven't been down to Feast World Kitchen, I mean, it really kind of feels like stepping into a living room at times. Like when I've been there, when it comes to human beings and making meaning from our existence, right? The sport of soccer, obviously, it's the beautiful game. It's the world's game. It is a language that is shared by so many different cultures and countries around the planet. Food is the same way. And when you put the two together, like when we did I've talked about it ad nauseum on here, when we had all that great food and Egypt was playing
Ghana,
against Ghana, yeah. So tell me a little bit about a story, because I know you must have many of these, of somebody who might have come into Feast World Kitchen being a little bit cynical about the food, because they're like maybe not the most adventurous eaters, but then they were just kind of like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, it happens every day. We're pretty close to the freeway. We have people on road trips who stop by and then they come in and they're like, wait, what's this? And the food was different yesterday and it's a nonprofit. And, they just get blown away by the idea and the concept. But then you bring out the plate of food and they're like, I've never had something like this.
Yeah.
So 2 days ago, we had a family who came here through the refugee program from their Karen people, which, that's a people group in Thailand, Burma, that's incredibly oppressed and has been endangered by so many different things. And anyway, they came here. It's safer for them to be here. And they're building their lives from scratch in Spokane. But we had someone on social media say, this is the best meal I've ever had.
I think I saw this.
And it's like, they make Thai food that it's better than maybe the stuff that you normally will get. And everybody loves Thai food, or most people, but
I love that. I'm glad you went there. That's another thing about Feast that's really awesome is there are a kind of, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like Americanized version of world cuisine that is sold all over the place, right? Not naming names, but of course chains, that goes without saying. When you do eat this cuisine at Feast, it is always like certifiably authentic.
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't want to put something out that wasn't. And yesterday we had a Syrian family who's just joyful, mom and dad, and then their 2 young adult sons are just gregarious and they just love to do their thing. And they were trying some new recipes that people were really responding to. And then some people just had never had like a proper, shawarma wrap with that specific spice mix and garlic sauce, and different Middle Eastern countries do shawarma differently. But it's like that's kind of like the cheeseburger of the Middle East. Like in America, you go down the 3rd Avenue and there's 15 burger places. Well, in the Middle East, there's 15 shawarma places where they're, it's like, oh, this family does it this way. And it's, just this wrap with a very specific marinade seasoning sauce and then that garlic sauce in the wrap with fries. And it's just like, it's great. And so people really love that, but I could talk about a million different.
I know I'm going to need you to stop because otherwise we're going to have to hit pause and I'm going to go to feast because I'm hungry.
I know.
Do you have a favorite dish or one that stuck out to you over the years?
I'm going to get in trouble if I call out.
Give us a couple then.
Well, this woman, Zubia from Pakistan.
Okay.
She's one of our chefs and she knows that, her biryani rice, which biryani is another dish that many different places make differently. India, Iraq, even, and it's all good. But the way she makes it is something that I just love. And she knows that I'm the only meat eater in my household. So she'll put like a box of the chicken biryani, but then she also puts aside a box of vegetarian biryani, and it's spicy and it's good and it's so full flavor. But then she makes that yogurt sauce that you can kind of cool it off, the yogurt cucumber sauce, raita. And, that's just a fantastic, I never knew rice could be that flavorful.
That's the trap dish for Ross Carper.
That's one of them. Yeah. And I could call out so many different folks, in the last, 6 years, we're coming up on about $2 million in profit that these hundreds of families have taken home.
Let's go.
And that money is staying in the community as they build their lives here. Some of them will invest in their food business and get the equipment to be a caterer or farmer's market pop-up chef on their own outside of us. Others will get a reliable car so that they can take grandma to the doctor on time. Others will go to nursing school. Others were, and it's just like sometimes, and honestly, one of the most poignant things that people have done with the earnings is they've saved it up and they've used it to travel to see family members who they haven't seen in a decade. And we literally had a single mom of 6 kids fly to Egypt so that the younger of her kids could meet her mom, their grandma. And she's in poor health and is probably not going to be around very much longer. And it's, and it's like from a financial planner perspective, it's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have used all those many thousands of dollars to fly 7 people across the world. Maybe you're struggling financially. Like maybe you should have put it into this or that or whatever. But it's like, what is life about?
Other 100%. Than like relationships.
And so
I don't think there's a better way that people can think of investing their time, energy, resource in both the vibrance and the resilience of a community. And I'm going to say our community because obviously Feast is in Spokane. Then every meal you buy at Feast, every dollar you donate to Feast is creating vibrance, and it's also creating resilience.
Yeah.
Resilience, I mean, for our economy, for our people. Can I ask you a question about what is like the most misunderstood part of the Feast World Kitchen mission or model or both?
I think the most misunderstood thing is that we are a restaurant incubator. For most of the people that we work with, and actually most people in general, starting a brick and mortar restaurant is actually a really bad idea.
Yeah.
From a risk perspective,
the
capital outlay or debt that you're going to have to take on.
Not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, it is no joke. And so, and sometimes that's really hard.
So you think a lot of people go in and they think, oh, a success story here looks like somebody leaves and they go start a restaurant. The American dream.
Yeah. And that has happened. Okay, and it's incredible. Sure. Arabian Palace out on East Sprague. We have Amen Ethiopian in the Valley Mall food court. Hibra is one of our former chefs. Abdul Karim and his family from Arabian Palace are doing incredible work, and people love their food. It's like across from Costco out on East Sprague.
Okay.
And then Indicana was the best new restaurant of 2024 in Spokane. Noreen from Inland Curry, who bought that business from Dan and then was kind of an anchor chef every Thursday at Feast in our first 3 years of existence. Through that, she gained a market of people who really love her food. And she launched this concept with others, to have this Indian Mexican fusion restaurant in the Perry district that people have really responded to. And it's added to our culinary scene at a high level.
Yeah. I think my friend Chip Overstreet is involved in that.
Yeah. He's her main partner. So
love Chip.
And
shout out.
I think him coming down to Feast when she was cooking was a part of that story.
So cool.
So we have people at all different levels.
But those are the great stories.
Those are the outliers. On one level, every single one of them is an entrepreneur because they're not our employees. They are doing small business activity, and we work with them on how to do that properly. And they rent the space for us from us for the day. Like a farmer's market.
If you had unlimited funding, what would be some of the things that you would do with Feast?
Unlimited funding. I mean, at this point, we would probably build a building that had a ton of affordable housing in it and a commercial kitchen on the main floor.
Oh.
Because then we could utilize the kitchen for either for retailing to customers as a ghost kitchen for catering,
I've talked about a version of this idea with Luke and some other people in Spokane before of like what that could look like. Not specifically Feast, but Feast would blend really well with that idea. So anybody out there with the type of, let's get this, what was the word I used? Unlimited funding?
Yeah.
So if anyone out there has unlimited funding, you know where to find us.
I would love to talk to the unlimited funding people.
Yeah. If you have unlimited money, please help us, help Ross and Feast.
The reason I say housing is like we help people every day try to find affordable, adequate housing because there's such a shortage.
Of course. The thing about the immigrant story, okay, which is the story of the United States, okay, in case anyone has forgotten, which a lot of people seem to have forgotten that, okay, weird. They don't teach history anymore, apparently. The immigrant story is hard work and planting roots in a community. And so many of these stories are exactly about that. Their experiences should be celebrated. The fact that they're also sharing their gift of the cuisine from their home countries. Like, I want to use that to ask you a question. What is something that you think you have learned from your chefs or your experience with Feast World Kitchen that has changed your worldview?
It's what you just mentioned. A posture of hard work with joy toward a better life in a communal sense. Like earlier, I mentioned like sometimes our social clock's a little different where we're ready to be done connecting at a certain time. I feel like one of the things we learn from folks is like, we have people who come here as refugees who, they move into an apartment complex and then maybe mom in the family has a baby. They're astonished that no one from the apartment complex comes around to see the baby and give gifts and bring food and celebrate, and so we can learn a lot about communal sharing and interest in our neighbors.
The village.
Yeah. I mean, that's, we can learn a lot about that from other cultures. And I feel like that's something that I'm always inspired when I see people who have limited resources and time because they're working 2 jobs and driving Uber airport rides, but they will take the time to drive someone to Seattle to get a paperwork thing figured out, or because they have a driving class there that speaks Dari or something, and we don't have that in Spokane. It's inspiring. And
didn't you say that the chef that you teamed up with the mix, we're going to talk a little bit, just just give me a little TLDR about the mix, but wasn't that chef also driving an Uber?
Oh yeah. Ibrahim and I, so Ibrahim is one of our chef partners from the beginning, and he is on our board as well at Feast. And Ibrahim loves to make candy and desserts, and actually did that for the Davenport Hotel for a long time with the peanut brittle and different things. And so he and I partnered up on this dessert and ice cream business that is now operating. It's really
give people the address. I want to make sure that they go there.
Yeah, it's 321 South Cedar.
Okay, it's right by Feast.
It looks like a milk bottle, so you can't miss it.
Yeah.
And right now we're Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 3 to 9 p.m.
And it's the mix.
The mix, yeah.
Spokane on Instagram, I believe, is the handle.
The mix Spokane.
Okay, follow on social.
Yeah, we're trying to do some It's a soft serve mostly. We have a vanilla soft serve and a vegan soft serve, like lemon or Dole Whip or something. But there's awesome desserts that Ibrahim makes. And now actually Chef Rabah, who is our Algerian chef at Feast, he's in there and he's kind of our shop manager this year. And he has added sweet crepes because Algeria and French cuisine has a lot of overlap, and he loves to make crepes, and we can, put some ice cream in the crepe, and you can watch an improv show while you're enjoying that, or you can just come in and grab an ice cream cone. We sort of do like a Dairy Queen Blizzard version that we call the Ice Storm.
Oh, yummy.
Little Spokane history for you there.
Except when you buy that from the mix, that money stays in Spokane.
Yeah. And a lot of times the candy, we do have Oreo and Reese's and stuff, but like the candy that we mix into it is handmade candy by Ibrahim, so it's a vanilla soft serve and you blend that stuff in and it's good, So if you're looking to after school or after dinner, get some dessert, we're trying to, it's right by the freeway. It's not quite as quaint and cute as the Garland milk bottle, but it's something that, Ibrahim and Rabah particularly are working on really hard.
I kind of want to use this examples that you've just given of some of the programming and some of the narratives and anecdotes and examples of the things that Feast is doing to kind of wrap a bow around everything that I think people are experiencing. And sometimes they don't have a language for, like, why do I feel crappy all the time? Why am I anxious? Why am I stressed? Why do I feel despair? Everything that I've wanted to do with the Spokane Soccer Show, everything that Feast World Kitchen is doing with so much of your help and so much of the help from so many people who live and work in this community, the project of the All Those Moments podcast that I just started with my friend Luke and my friends at the Magic Lantern is about getting people to leave your house. God forbid, try to get off social media. I know it sounds so stupid and it's just like some get off my lawn stuff, but it really, I do think people take for granted what is happening as a result of being polarized through all these algorithmically fed things that we experience and it's like hyper individualist experiences of content on your phone or whatever. It's like, that might be a root cause of why you're not feeling good about the world.
Yep.
And there's opportunity to change that. So go watch a soccer game at one stadium.
Yep.
Go watch a soccer game at Whitworth Soccer Field. Go to the Magic Lantern and watch a movie.
Flat Stick Pub.
Go to Flat Stick Pub and watch soccer when the teams aren't here instead of watching it at home or on your phone, for crying out loud. Go down to Feast World Kitchen.
Yep.
Just break bread with people.
And that makes a huge difference. And Feast was started because of during the first administration of the current leaders.
Yeah.
It was like, we have to do something to create a positive third space where we can be together around good things instead of just, fighting with your uncle on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
It's like, we can't do that. And there's a place for advocacy and all these things, but like at the same time, like just showing up and actually knowing people and being neighbors and, coming together around food and around soccer and, and baseball and movies. And I mean, if we all like get more intentional about those kinds of experiences, we're going to be happier as a community. And, I will just say, we're not made to walk alone.
No.
You'll never walk alone, Benji.
Oh my God. You got me.
The best soccer club in the world.
You lured me right into this.
They have it dialed in with the song, and I could sing that.
I hate and love you very much. No, but truly, at the risk of sounding preachy, I'll go there. Part of starting this podcast, everything I want to do with the movie podcast, everything you're doing with Feast World Kitchen is in response to, I did not feel very good about how I behaved, after the 2016 election, upset about it, and was like, I'm just going to be a flamethrower. And where am I doing that? Online on social media. As one of those people, it's just like upset. I'm just going to be mad.
Yeah.
And then create this weird sense of enmity toward people that it's like, that is nonsense. And I don't want to participate in that anymore.
Yeah.
And I encourage everybody to not. Your politics don't matter when you go break bread with somebody. You can leave all that crap behind. And even if you did end up talking about ideology or politics or something that's going on in the world, right? If you're doing that in person, you're far less likely to be terrible about it or to say awful things to one another or to use the block function, right?
Yeah.
So I know that, again, it's at the risk of sounding preachy, but I just want people to know that's why I wanted you on the podcast. So I want to talk about the work that you're doing. Yeah. It's everything that I want to do with this podcast and my other one. So thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Absolutely.
Ross Carper.
It's my pleasure.
You are a one of one, my friend. And I can't wait to have you back on in the future so we can talk about Alexander Isak becoming a Golden Boot winner for Newcastle and not going to Liverpool. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, follow on all the different things. Yes, the social media that we made fun of earlier. Use it for doing things like talking about soccer and food and movies. You know, that's what it's best for. Thank you all for listening, and I will probably do another podcast in a couple weeks, and it'll be right in time to talk about all the players that have been signed by Zephyr FC leading up to the start of the USL Super League, and of course we'll keep in touch with what's going on with our beloved Velocity FC.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me.